Hello and welcome to the in-depth series of Drishti IAS. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. The Great Smog of London 1952 is a horrific remembrance. Is it going to repeat for Delhi? Will we have a Great Smog of Delhi in the couple of years to come? Let's find out. From the perspective of GS mains paper, third, and from the perspective of prelims, it's important that we understand how it happened. Let's first talk about history of Great London Smog. Before the smog formed, there were also issues with smog formation. So we'll talk it from the perspective of the climatology as well. What were the impurities that were found? The impact response, what is actually happening in Delhi? And the Great Smog 2.0 and a question in the last. Moving ahead, let's talk about the history first. Because of the Industrial Revolution in the late 1700s, it so happened that Britain was not ready to witness such a situation. Because of the burning of the fossil fuels, the indiscriminate mining and everything else led to the outpouring of certain impure gases. The climate was such that it supported smog formation, and thick smoke, smelling of coal tar, it blanketed London in December 1813. Then, also similar issue happened in December 1873, in which death rate, there was a difference in death rate with respect to the previous one, 40%, that is above the normal. Similar issues were also witnessed in January 1880, February 1882, December 1891, December 1892, and November 1948. From the East End of London, it was an issue that there was a thick density of factories over there, and also homes were greater than almost anywhere else in the capital in the world. The area was also low-lying and it was hard for folk to disperse. Whenever there is a windy season, the skies are clear, better in nature, it's easier for the smoke to disperse and fog to disperse, but it was not the case with London. How did the 1952 smog form? It was also being called an act of God, that God did it. It wasn't the fault of humans. The months such as November and early December of 1952 were pretty cold. And due to heavy snowfall in the region, people started burning large quantities of fossil fuels such as coals in their homes to remain warm. And also, an anticyclone was hanging over the region. Because of the hanging of the anticyclone, there was a inversion in which the air close to the ground becomes cooler than the air above it. Okay, so here, suppose this is the ground. Alright, and the closer air here is colder, generally it is warmer. But because of the temperature inversion, this happened, and the above one is warmer. And this has resulted in trapping of the particles and gases which were being emitted from factory, because the particles and gases should be rising upward. But there was an anticyclone, so the air was getting pushed back. Alright. And because of that, a heavy layer of smog was created. Winds from the east had brought from industrial areas also to this particular area. So, because the east end had more factories and homes, the entire smog was scattered to the area which was already having a blanket of smog. Moving ahead, comes 5th December. The sky became clear, winds were a little light, and the air near the ground was moist. This created an atmosphere for radiation fog. And because of that, there is a net loss of long wave radiation. Okay, so long wave of radiation, there was a net loss of that. And when the moist air came into contact with the ground, it cooled to its due temperature and precipitation occurred. Precipitation in the form could be of ice, rain, hailstorm. And this is one of the reasons where the inversion of the anticyclone was already happening. The area between the anticyclone inversion and the ground was cooler. Condensation was occurring. Wind speed were low. Clear skies were clear. So a lot of moisture was created. Condensation occurred. The very light wind stirred the saturated air upwards, and a layer of fog was created 100 to 200 meters deep. Smoke from innumerable chimneys in the London area, it all became a vicious circle. People, because they were feeling cold, they started burning more fossil fuels such as coal. More fossil fuels such as coal also was contributing to the smog formation. Again, because of smog formation, people started feeling cold, and because of condensation as well. So these are the many reasons that this cycle was not being able to get broken. December 9 was the date when everything settled. The clarity in the atmosphere, in the air, was seen. There were impurities such as 1,000 tons of smoke particles, 2,000 tons of carbon dioxide, 140 tons of hydrochloric acid, 14 tons of fluorine compounds, 370 tons of sulfur dioxide. It were converted into 800 tons of sulfuric acid, and that was not very healthy. About 4,000 people were known to have died. Officially, unofficial figures are of course always high. Many people suffered from breathing problems. Press reports claimed cattle at Smithfield had been asphyxiated by the smog. So this was a loss of both lives and livelihood. Travel was also disrupted for days. If you watch The Crown, which is highly recommended by me, there is an episode on that in season 1. Do watch it. Response. Let's talk about the response. There were passing of certain laws and acts, such as Clean Air Acts of 1956 and 1968. This banned the emission of black smoke, and also it was a command to the residents of the urban areas and operators of factories. They must convert to smokeless fuel. But it does not mean that smokeless fuel is going to be healthy for the environment. So in 1962, 750 Londoners died as a result of fog, because we, of course, treated the symptoms here, humans, but they did not treat the cause. Moving ahead, what is right now happening in Delhi has been seen to mimicking the pattern. On 3rd November, the air quality in Delhi plunged to severe. The air quality AQI we saw at that time was 480. Many protocols came into being, such as, if it is possible, work from home, carpooling, halting of construction work and demolition activities so that smoke and particles and pollutants do not contribute to further deterioration of air quality. Safar said that Noida slipped into an air quality index of 393. Gurugram's AQI stood at 318. What is Safar? London Smog 2.0 in Delhi. Let's see. Now in 2016, it was seen that levels of sulfur dioxide were in control at that time. But other parameters, they mimic the situation of infamous London Smog episode. Now in 2017, the AIIMS chief Randeep Guleria compared the alarming pollution scenario in Delhi with 1952 London crisis, Airpocalypse. If we do not treat the causes and just treat the symptoms, it's not going to help us in the future. Now let's look at the question. How many of the following industries' activities are responsible for the release of sulfur dioxide? Petroleum refineries, cement manufacturing, paper pulp manufacturing, metal smelting. So we have to choose the correct answer from here. That's it. Thank you so much for watching.